And we're into the final line of gate 46. We've been working our way through these lines of the gate of the determination of the self and the love of the body, the temple. And here in the sixth line, we have integrity. If you look for a place of real wisdom in the abstract process, this is it, the 46-6. We know how six lines rise above any given situation, and that when they're young, they get involved in what their line is all about, and they learn very quickly what doesn't work, what does work. The 46-6, like the whole of the 46 gate, has the quality within them that if they accept the experience they're in, and they are in it fully, there's going to be a reward. The 46-6 learns very quickly that it is not the experience that is the thing, because it gets to see the whole circuit. It gets to see that the whole circuit is based on the impersonal contacts between humans. They realize that the abstract process is faulty in the sense that the experience itself takes one away from the real wisdom that is possible, because it is the people. Like the collective sexuality in the 35-36, the 30-41, that stream, what you have is experience and excitement that has nothing to do with the actual person. The one thing that the 46-6 knows is that success is absolutely dependent on the other person, that the experience is just a catalyst. But it is the other person or the collective sharing that can result in real success. The 46-6 is not limited to just looking at the drive in the sacral center to say yes to life, to experience, to commit. It goes beyond that. It's looking at the whole of the experiential circuitry, all of the abstract. It sees the obsession, it sees the crisis, it sees the progress, it sees all the possibilities that are there. It sees that experience can make a contribution to the direction of humanity. Remember, the direction of humanity is towards beauty and aesthetics and harmony. That's our direction. The reality is that only an experience whose net value is to show the beauty and the harmony possible in human direction, only then is that experience worth having. That's quite a criteria. You can sit up there on the roof for a long time to wait and see, to find that experience that being in it ultimately is of value to humanity. The exaltation says the wisdom to secure one's identity through careful consideration of the restrictive potential of commitments, the determination to say no to restrictive commitments. We know that on the other side of the channel, in the 29, we have the gate of saying yes. It wants to know ultimately what to say yes to. And the 46 ultimately wants to know what to say no to. And it's very important for the 46 to know what to say no to. It has to say no to any experience that it cannot be in innocently and existentially. The moment of expectation is the moment of potential failure. In the detriment, we have deceiving oneself and others by overextending one's resources and eventually being in a position of having to break promises. A drive for success that will not say no and will end up breaking promises. The promises refer to expectation. Oh, it's the theme all the way through this. And these people who can be successful, these are not individual successes. These are not the individual sort of freak entrepreneur. This is not a tribal business. It's not the mum and dad store that's been in the family forever. This is collective success. This is sharing success. And the byproduct of the serendipity is the expectation that it will be shared. Now, there's a lot of people who can get very annoyed about this kind of thing. The sixth line sits up on top of the hill and it says, look, I know that I can be in the experience, they can't. And if they can't, I'm going to get distracted, and then it's not going to work. It's not going to work, it's pointless. If there's no value in it, sixth line isn't going to want to get involved with it. So they wait for the right collective environment where they can enter into an experience for the experience alone. And of course, they're great judges of what experience can bring discovery to others. It's the name of this channel, that Discovery Channel. Don't do that, you'll get too distracted. You won't be able to stay if you get into that thing. Don't think about what it's going to bring you, just get in and do it and just be in it for its own sake. This is the advice, this is the knowledge and the wisdom that is rooted here in the 46th gate, in the sixth line of integrity. The drive for success. They will not say no, and they will end up breaking promises. And of course, what happens to it, is it gets into the collective process with the wrong collective force, and it breaks the promise because it did not bring success. It brings failure instead. This success and failure is about your spirit, your essence, and this whole gate, the channel, rather, it's the design of succeeding where others fail and failing where others succeed. The 46 as a gate of love, the love of the body. It begins with the acceptance that your body is correct for you because it's the body you've got for no other reason. And this brings me to an important point about the importance of living out your own nature. You only have one body. You only have the body that is your body when you are living out your own nature. That's when you get your true body. The not self can be unhealthily thin or unhealthily fat. The not self can get tied up in all sorts of knots about what's correct, what isn't, what should it look like, what doesn't it look like, why doesn't it look like this, how can it look like this? And the not self is many things, but it is never your body. Now we have a worldwide industry based on trying to make not self bodies comfortable. You do massage on the not self body, and you may be able to bring a little bit of minor relief for a certain period of time, but it doesn't change the body. The body still remains that not self body because it's being driven by the mind and the decisions of the mind, and it's living out the mind through the openness in the body. The moment you live your own nature, you will discover that you get the body that is yours, the body you deserve, in a way. You get, oh God, sorry, bird just kind of squawked off the roof there. It obviously has the body it deserves, it's able to do that. You've got your own inherent chemistry. You have the chemistry that your body works better through or best through. You hold the right amount of water that is necessary for your body. You have the right amount of fat that is necessary for your body. And you can get to a place where you can live in your vehicle in peace and learn to recognize that being in your body without exception is the ultimate spiritual experience. And that's why this gate is so important. Loving yourself begins with loving your vehicle. To see that you have got the right body. It's the right body for your journey. And you can't see that if your mind is still making all your decisions and giving you all of that chatter the whole time. But when all of that stops and you can just be in your body, it's a very different experience. Ra said that he met so many generators who are intellectual vegetarians. They have their mind's idea of what their body should be and what they should have in their body and what they shouldn't take into their body. But he said they can only know what should be in the body when they're asked a very simple yes-no question. He said, when you go into a restaurant, ask the waiter what they recommend, and you'll begin to learn what it is you want to eat. So you go into the restaurant and you say, so what's good tonight? And they say, oh, well, we've got this. And you go, well, we've got this. And your body is, and you find out from there what is correct for you to eat. And the moment that you are responding to diet instead of dictating your diet, your body changes and it becomes your body. Being yourself is more than just a kind of spiritual game. It's about accepting your form, being aware that it's your form that gets sick and dies. It's your form that gets confused and suffers from fear. It's not the crystals, forget all that. We live in a vehicle. To be yourself is to honor your vehicle. When you honor the vehicle, everything works correctly. And that includes the quality and color of your hair, the quality of your skin, the way you walk, the way in which you talk, everything. Ra says that it all begins with following your correct dietary regimen, because then you have a brain that is nourished in the way that you're supposed to be nourished. You can take in nutrition on all sorts of levels, because of course it's not just about food. Everything you take into your body, the view that you look at out of your window, the books you read, the music you listen to, the conversations you have, they all get taken in and digested one way or the other. How correct are you being in there, in that sense, in that context? And then from there flows environment. And the right brain that's been nurtured correctly in the right environment, then that meets the people it's supposed to meet, has the experiences it's supposed to have, and the correctness then, it's not going to be anything other than correct. We are conditioned to be sick. That's the tragedy of this time that we've been born into. We are born to be conditioned to be sick instead of being educated to be healthy. From the moment we're born, we give our authority away to the doctors, to the surgeons, to the nurses. It's how we are taught. It's not anything we're doing inherently wrong. It's not our fault. But once we start to see it, of course, once we start to take back our own authority, then we can start to see a change. Now the 46.6 goes into the 18, line 1. It goes to work on what has been spoiled. It goes to the need to correct within the collective process, a need to find what is worth challenging and what is worth correcting. What is of value to humanity? So the 46.6 is not likely to be an obvious success in this life, because for them it's going to be dependent on how clear they are about the nature of the beings around them. Their success is dependent on that. And like all good 6 lines, they're sitting up on the roof of the house, they're checking out the possibilities, they're seeing what's coming next, they're getting ready for that corrective process. Well, they're looking at all the different people, trying to see who can make a success possible. It's a very difficult position, and yet it is one that carries within it a deep inherent wisdom, as all 6 lines do. But here we find a true, deep, real integrity. Real integrity is that you can have any kind of experience as long as it's an experience you can put yourself into fully and realize that it is of substance, that it can be of value in terms of being able to bring something back into the collective. We have 2 kinds of teachers. We have the 46.6, the teacher of experience, and those teachers of experience that really benefit us. They save us time, they smooth our way, and they provide us with all kinds of opportunities. That's the possibility that lies within the integrity of the 6th line. And the grounding here comes through ignorance. This is the 25th gate in the 6th line. 6 lines are mysterious beings, they don't belong to the hexagram. They're kind of sitting in judgment on top of the hexagram, not being better than the rest of the hexagram, but in terms of whether the hexagram is expressing itself correctly. Everything being a duality, you could say that ignorance maybe is the binary of integrity, or perhaps that in its ignorance, in the innocence of the 6th line, it can have an integrity that wouldn't be there otherwise. Mercury moves into gate 46 at 10:15 today. I think this is We've covered this enough. This is our sun gate. We're talking about this one already quite a lot. So the moon moves into gate 39 at 9:10 this morning. So it's in there already, I imagine, by the time you hear this. The gate of provocation in the root center, finding the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and re-evaluation. The pressure to provoke the emotions of others to discover the quality of their spirit. And it moves into gate 53 at 1936, another root gate. This is called development, the gate of beginnings. So if you find yourself under pressure to begin new things today, that could be the influence of the moon in this gate. Strategy and authority will help you discover whether this is correct for you to use your energy on or not. Perhaps you are aware of feeling a little frustrated because there's nothing for you to start. Or maybe you're stuck in something that you'd really like to get out of. And the moon then moves into gate 62. That's at 6:10 tomorrow morning. This is the preponderance of the small. It's the gate of details, the gate of naming things. It's a throat center gate. It brings us a channel with the north node because that's in gate 17 in the Ajna. And this is the channel of acceptance. It's the design of an organizational being. This channel can have the gift of communicating in a logical way. It's in logical circuitry, collective. So it's sharing what it knows. It brings organization and structure to the world around them. There can be some discomfort here if there's a feeling of not having all the facts and all the details at your fingertips before you start speaking. Perhaps you'll get caught out by not having enough detail. This is a projector channel. It needs to be recognized and invited before sharing its details and its opinions. And it needs to be careful not to overwhelm others with too much detail, because in that case, the message will be lost. In the same way, if you don't have enough detail, then again, people lose confidence that you actually know what it is that you're talking about. So, it's gate 46. We move into splenic season tomorrow with the 18 and the 18 line 1. So yeah, we'll be working on what has been spoiled. And we will talk about that. I'll do an overview, of course, and then we'll go through the 6 lines together. So I hope you will join me with that. You are warmly invited. Would you like to? I do enjoy having your company. I love reading the comments. I love seeing even people, most people, of course, don't comment, but I just see how many people have looked at what I put out, and I'm so grateful that you support it, that you find value in what I do, and I hope it continues to be like that for you, to bring some insights, maybe in things for you to reflect upon in your own experience. So I will see you for a new gate tomorrow. Until then, as always, go gently.